on then, finish your story, but tell the camera where we're going.
We're into Wonderland.
And then...
Oh my god, I haven't got the tickets for Jack Garrett.
So we nearly got there. We just got in the car to go to Brighton, and I just wanted to talk about something. This time right now, this whole week, is kind of like my 5-year anniversary for having cancer, and I didn't quite realise how quickly it's gone. Like, it's been nearly 2 years of Aisha already, like, and then another 3 years on top of that has been with cancer. Like, it's just flown by. And the reason I realised this was because on Facebook, you know when you get the memories come up and it says today 5 years ago such and such happened, and a picture will come up. Well, the other day I was on in the gym and a picture came up of me at the Royal Marsden with my gown on and like my butt cheek was hanging out, and that was 5 years ago. Mental. So what happened was I had my first ever operation to do cancer in Canterbury, to take the mole out, to remove the mole, to see whether it was cancer. And when they realised it was cancer, they referred me to the Royal Marsden because I was under the age of 21. And then when I was referred there, I had my appointments, they decided to take a bigger area of the mole, like about a 3-inch lesion of my calf, away from it, because obviously the cancer wasn't anywhere else in my body, but it had rooted down and it had spread just in the calf. So they wanted to take all of that away. And that was, for me, probably when I first went to the Royal Marsden, that was probably where my journey really started, because that's when, I don't know, I felt like I built a relationship with the Royal Marsden from then on. What I felt like at KNC was when they found out it was cancer, they were like, they didn't know what to do. They were like, I was like a hot potato. They literally didn't know what to do. So what they basically did was, which I'm grateful for because I'm in the best hospital, in my opinion, that I could be in. They referred me to the Royal Marsden straight away. And at the time, me and Mum were like, we just need to go wherever's best, because it obviously it's a very young age to get melanoma. And when I did get to Royal Marsden, I was like, bloody hell, this is a lot nicer than KNC. I was like, I feel like it looks like the Buckingham Palace of hospitals to look at, you know what I mean?
Yeah, even inside though.
And it was, you know, wintry, it was near Christmas. I just felt a really nice, a much nicer feel than I did in Canterbury. And as the 5 years have gone on, I mean, it's been like, I've had 3 operations there now. I've never fallen out of, I've never not liked going there, in a way. You know, there's always been something to look forward to, whether it's seeing a nurse, whether it's going out for lunch because of the location of it. You know, there's always something to pick out from being in hospital there. Obviously, when you're surrounded by the shit fact of the fact that you've got cancer and you've got to go there for that, you've got to find the little things to kind of cheer you up, haven't you?
What were your other operations for?
The other operations were for my lymph nodes removed. So after it, good question, after it got removed the second time from my calf, I had 2 years clear. Yeah, she does know everything, she's just asking for your sake. I had 2 years clear, just scans every 3 months, and then after 2 years they found cancer in my lymph nodes and in my stomach, and then they found a mass in my stomach, which they weren't sure whether it was cancer, but the likelihood of it being cancer was like 95%, because it was just like you can get like lumps of something that is sometimes nothing. So I had the lymph nodes removed and the mass in my stomach at the same time, and I was in hospital for about 10 days, 2 weeks, I'm not sure how long it was, but the recovery was the longest part because I was sent home with drains, I was just in bed for ages, and that was probably the worst part of this whole journey. But I was a self-employed personal trainer at the time, and I quit my job. I was renting at a gym at the time, so I had to stop that, and they gave me no option but to stop that because I would have still been paying some. Anyway, that's a whole nother story that I'm not going to get into. Anyway, so I had that operation, and the lymph nodes were cancerous, but the mass in my stomach was benign. It was like a benign tumour kind of thing. They didn't know what it was. It was just, there was no cancer. So it was gone anyway. So I had quite major surgery for, you know, something that could have not gone to my stomach. But to be honest, the stomach was the easiest one to heal, so I'm not going to kind of moan. And then I was put onto a trial drug treatment. And I was on this treatment for 2 weeks, and I didn't know whether it was the placebo or the genuine thing, but all I know is that this is when I lost my vision. So within 2 weeks of being on that treatment, I was starting to lose my vision. My vision was blurring. I was adamant I had a cold, like, you know when you get cold and you're fuzzy, your whole head's fuzzy? That's what I thought I had, so I thought I had a virus that I didn't know about. Left it, I went to Moorfields Eye Hospital, I went to Ashford, I went to all the best kind of eye places. Not one single doctor knew what to do with me or what to suggest. They could see there was swelling in the optic nerve, but they didn't know what it was or where it's coming from. The fact that I was on treatment was the only thing that it could have been due to. Anyway, I went to the Royal Marsden, and they suggested seeing a guy at the Royal Marsden who's a specialist. And he diagnosed me with melanoma-associated retinopathy, which is like an allergic reaction to the cancer, which makes certain parts of your body swell up, certain nerves in your body. It could be your lower back, or it could be any part of your body. And for me, it was my eyes. And this swelling sometimes never goes, or it might go. You know, there's only been a couple of cases in England that have had it, and I think one isn't alive anymore. Am I allowed to say that? I was the second person to have it.
The person before you was like, the gist of what I get is that they were very old, like it was a completely different case, and they were very old. Very old,
and just kind of, you know, really far into their cancer journey. So I was new on the scene. I had this melanoma-associated retinopathy that no one had heard about, but the only thing they could suggest was, 1, putting me on steroids, and 2, getting me off this trial drug. So I came off the trial drug, which I'm glad anyway, because it fucked with me mentally, and the steroids didn't work, so I was only on them for a couple of weeks, I think, and it just didn't like them. I've always hated steroids. So yeah, that was that. I had scans. I was clear after that for a long time, another 2 years, and then it came back in my liver and my lung, and this was when I got put onto IPI, which was the treatment that started when I was with Aisha. I was diagnosed with liver and lung cancer when I was with Aisha, so we've been together a while. I was clear for a while, and I'd always kind of had to tell her that it could come back, and I think I remember those conversations like they were yesterday, trying to tell Aisha that this cancer could come back at any minute. It was horrible, because she kind of forgot about it because I was so well, and then when we'd sit down and have a conversation about, not like, I need to sit you down. You know, we were just in the car or something, and then she'd ask me a question, and I'd say, well, like, yeah, it could come back. Well, I got told by the doctors that it's 80% likely to come back within the next 2 years.
I hate that statistic.
Yeah?
I hate that statistic.
And it was right, though.
Do you know that's like probably the only stats that we've ever been given?
And then I put on to IPI. I was on it for 3 rounds, and at 3 rounds in, I got a skin rash which just spread like wildfire. There's the only, you know, like the bushfires you get in Australia. That is the only way I can describe it. My whole skin was burning, and I was on steroid cream. I was on, like, you know, these different kind of things that they thought might work, might help. But before I knew it, I was in hospital, and they were telling me that if I leave this another few days, in fact, if I leave it a day, it could turn into sepsis, which is blood poisoning. So that was scary as fuck. They took me off of IPI. They didn't really know what else to do with me, but the liver and the lung had responded well to the IPI, so they thought, right, we're going to leave it for a live it for a few months and see what happens within the next few scans. So I did, and it was 3 months after I was diagnosed with the liver and the lung, wasn't it? Then they found it in the brain. They only scanned my brain. They never used to scan my brain because I had a lump in my breast and I wanted to get it checked out. So they thought, right, well, the initial doctor didn't even want to scan the breast. She just said it was hormonal, which she was right, but
there just was something
there was something sitting not right with Aisha. So Aisha pushed for it, and my nurse got me in for a brain scan, breast scan, everything scan, and it turns out they found the brain tumour. So fucking someone was looking down on us saying, give them these scans because there's something going on. And if we hadn't have found it, God knows where I'd be right now. So yeah, and then I got my radiotherapy, which didn't work. I mean, this is all getting quite recent now. I had my radiotherapy on the brain, which didn't work. Then I got put onto the treatment that I'm still on, Prem, which is working really well in my opinion. I don't like this drug, but I'm gonna say I feel like I'm on the gold of drugs. If it's gonna, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was on that for 8 rounds, was it?
Yeah.
At about 8 rounds, I was on it for, and then they found it in my hip.
Yeah, it was 8. Yeah.
And they found cancer in my hip. So this was a whole new area, which was I would say a lot more scary for Aisha, because at the time I was just happy that my brain tumour hadn't grown. But about 2 weeks in, I was pretty like, oh, fuck's sake, this is in my hip, and I've got to have 2 weeks of radiotherapy. 2 weeks ago I had the radiotherapy, and I'm here now, and we're celebrating my 5-year anniversary. It's kind of nice to be doing something. Like yesterday we were in Winter Wonderland, went to see Jack Garrett, which was amazing, by the way. Jack Garrett smashed it out of the park. I'm really sorry about this light, by the way, but and now we're off to Brighton, which is what we did.
Oh my God.
Which is what we did exactly the same, exactly this time last year, and had an amazing time. So that is my 5 years of cancer, and I'm still going strong. And my goal is to drive again. My goal is to, I want to kind of maybe stay on this treatment for as long as I can. But I want to drive again, and I want to, you know, live a normal life as I can with Aish. And I feel like we're doing that right now, no matter what else is going on and all the stresses that come along with cancer. We're killing it, aren't we?
Yeah,
Trying.
I think so.
Anyway, I'll see you in Brighton. Peace.